once again to discuss things.
I'm running low on what I need. A glass of light, my last recourse. I find my way to the power source. In brightest day and blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power, Green Lantern's land. Ring capacity 46, 1 ring capacity.
Okay. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentlemen. I am Subpartu. Joining me once again is Rasco to continue our series on fan film reviews. How you doing?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah?
Feeling?
So this week we are reviewing a Green Lantern fan film called Green Lantern Endgame. I'd not seen this before I picked it, which is something I kind of want to try to do, just so I don't have many preconceived notions going into it. Rasco, have you ever watched any Green Lantern fan films before?
Well, I actually watched some other ones when I went to watch this one. So I watched this one and I watched a few other Green Lantern fan films.
Did you see the one from 2004?
What was it called?
2004 Green Lantern fan film?
Oh, I don't know.
No, I just happened to stumble across it last night, and I was just curious if you did. What else did you watch, then?
I watched this one. I kind of just skipped around a bunch of ones, but I watched ones that I thought were going to be more on the level of this one. This one turned out to be much below those. Quality.
Ouch. Well, actually, I'll disagree. I think that there are no good Green Lantern fan films, but I think this is a better one than most of what I've seen.
Yeah, probably. Well, this one is just hilariously made, whereas the ones look better but aren't necessarily better.
This one actually tells, I think, a reasonably good story. Not like a great, but it's a decent story that actually makes sense, I think. And I guess I respect that they at least tried to do some of the effects, because a lot of the other ones, it'll be like someone gets the ring, and then there's like a glow effect, and then the fan film is over.
Yeah.
And so this, it is ambitious, and I appreciate the ambition. But it's still not good. And I'm sad that I keep picking bad ones, and I feel bad that I keep picking bad fan films.
Yeah.
So, alright, I guess, what of this did you like? Let's start positive.
Okay, I'll say that, it's really hard. Okay, but sometimes the costumes were, Batman's costume looked decent. Superman's costume was okay. Green Lantern's costume was okay. It's really hard, because it's one of those things where I can't give you things that this specifically did well. I can just say that it's got a story, it's got actors, about something, but I don't know. I don't want to just destroy this fan film.
Yeah, I don't know. I think my most positive thing I can give it is the story, and it actually plays with the Green Lantern concept kind of well in the story. The idea that Jon Stewart is afraid of being a father, to put him up against Sinestro, whose power is based in fear, and then to have him not be able to concentrate on making his constructs, and thus only being able to make things related to, babies. I thought that was actually a pretty clever twist in the story. That really did work for me. And the acting from Jon Stewart was okay. He obviously isn't a professional actor or anything, but as far as fan film actors go, I thought he did alright. The Batman and Clark Kent, Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent characters were okay actors too. I kind of actually got a dynamic out of those two. Like, I could see that Batman and Bruce Wayne hanging out, even though there seems to be a considerable age gap.
Yeah.
What else? No, for me, the most brilliant thing in this is how it plays with the Green Lantern concept of you have to concentrate to make your constructs work. And so if you're distracted, they'll be weak or it won't work right. And so I like the idea of kind of like a Freudian slip of not being able to concentrate and making, silly constructs related to children.
Yeah. The only thing that's weird about that, though, is we start off with Vixen, we watch their relationship, then Vixen dies, then we don't see the relationship between Mr. Hawkgirl and Green Lantern.
That's true. Yeah, that is a problem, and the Vixen death scene being kind of hilarious doesn't help.
That was so funny.
Yeah, like I actually kind of felt the emotion of her dying to a certain extent, and the funeral scene was pretty good, Plastic Man notwithstanding.
Yeah.
But like just her doing cartwheels out in the field was so silly looking. Like the first time I was like, okay, whatever, it's a fan film, I'll give it a pass. But then it keeps happening.
Oh my god, yeah. Like, okay. That was completely, they really didn't need Vixen. The other thing about that funeral scene, though, it is so, awkwardly edited. Because you're just one by one watching the Justice League walk up to the thing. Everybody says something, except for Hawkgirl. And then we get to Green Lantern, and then Hawkgirl comes back. And it's just it was really long just to watch them all walk up to Vixen's body, sometimes say something or not, and then walk away. And it's half of it, and it's why is it so long?
Yeah, but I don't know. I agree it is long and it's awkwardly paced, but I think that the impact of the scene still works. You do actually feel kind of the somberness of a Justice League funeral, I think.
Yeah. I think it's weird that the titles, it's really weird. So, at the beginning it shows Justice League Unlimited, then it says Green Lantern Endgame. It's what is it? Is it Justice League or is it Green Lantern? And even if it is Justice League, this isn't Justice League Unlimited. Well, at least it doesn't look like it. It's a pretty standard Justice League team.
Well, no, I mean, you got Vixen there, so it's
you have Blue Beetle, you have Plastic Man, you have Vixen. So it's a little, yeah, you're right. It's a little bit more extended than regular Justice.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's set in an Unlimited universe. It's like a story later on in the Unlimited thing. Oddly enough, they do actually take a couple plot lines from Batman Beyond comics, if I remember correctly, because they do kind of show that Jon Stewart was planning to propose to Vixen one night, and then they got called off on a mission where she died, and that's why he and Hawkgirl got back together. Or that's why they were able to get back together and have Warhawk.
See, the thing about... Can I just say this? We've talked about this every single one of these. I don't think this is something you try to do in a fan film. I don't think this is a story that you try to tell in a fan film.
I don't know. I think it could have worked. It's... If they just done, if they had better effects, better shooting with the Sinestro fight and stuff, it could have worked. I think the Vixen scene, I thought it was actually kind of a clever idea to just skip the fight leading up to her death and just kind of get right to when they were pinned down and had no hope. I think it could have worked in a fan film, just not this low of a budget one. I think this would have worked better if you had someone who actually knew how to do, more than a beam of light kind of effect.
Yeah. It's kind of thing where, and yeah, you're right. For me, though, it's a weird thing where I'm kind of on the side of, if I were ever making a fan film or something like that, I just would try to make a story that absolutely requires no visual effects. Even if I knew someone that was capable of doing some visual effects that looked better than this, I'm the kind of person where I just wouldn't do it, because I think that's just not the kind of thing you try to do on a budget of $0. But hey, they tried something at least. I mean, we wouldn't have any of these kind of fan films if everybody thought that way. If everyone was like, oh no, can't use effects. But it's the ending of this is hilarious. That whole fight, it's just
Yeah, with the
Absolutely
still
hilarious.
images.
Still
Oh,
images,
God.
and they're just like flying at each other. And then at the end, when Green Lantern's flying away and he's all like happy, it's just like a still image.
Yeah, that part is really hard to watch. I was like, okay, maybe this is where they're going to put everything into, and maybe they did. I don't know. If they did, it does not show. I like at first the first time that they used that effect when he was really small and flew into the scene to fight Sinestro the first time. I was like, okay, yeah, that actually looked pretty good for a superhero fly-in because you don't see it for very long. But then as it keeps going and you get to the second fight with Sinestro, it's like, ouch, this is hard to watch.
Yeah.
It almost goes like completely cartoony to the point where like that seems like the kind of thing you'd do if you were making a joke about fan films as opposed to actually trying to do one.
Yeah, and like with one thing that you'll notice about a lot of fan films is like the humor is really like not there because like like writing humor is one of those difficult things because comedy is so subjective, and then on top of that, sometimes people just aren't that funny.
Mm-hmm.
And you can be a great writer and not be a funny writer though, because that's not a talent that necessarily is that comes with that. So like Joss Whedon is really funny, and I imagine he is a funny person, even though he doesn't seem like it in interviews. But I imagine that he is really funny. His movies are funny. There are people that have not funny movies that are also writers that try to be funny, and like this is one of those things where it's like when they're in the room and they're talking about like the diaper thing, and then like he turns into like he puts on the diaper and stuff.
Yeah, that really killed the mood.
Yeah, like, don't do that. And like, the Batman Superman would never go like, huh, he always was a turd. Like, Batman wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I agree. That like I liked that they started laughing at that, even though it was supposed to be like a serious moment because they're all like, "Hey, we've all been here," thing, but. At the same time, the way they laugh, the actors don't pull it off very well, and the line is really awkward.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, and also just they're like Batman, and I guess you can kind of say this is the actor playing Batman or the director not directing him well enough, but it's like I feel like it would be much better if Batman like snickered, just like a little Batman like. Grin and like snicker. Like that's a Batman thing I can see. Like he Batman finds something funny, but he doesn't necessarily like show it. Like there's little things like that where it's like it just takes me out of it because I feel like it's like I didn't even realize that was Batman until they like called him Bruce.
I mean, I got the impression right away when it was him and Clark because I mean I obviously knew the guy was Clark when it goes X-ray vision.
Yeah. That's the thing. You don't need an effect for X-ray vision.
Yeah, you don't.
Just have him look at the door and say what's behind it. You don't need an effect for that.
Yeah. And it's weird because you could have used the time that you spent doing that making better fight effects. Man, that scene... to be fair, it's really hard to do flying. Even if you have access to a green screen, you also need access to either a wire team... or something that's also painted green to stand or lay on, and even then it's not going to look great. So that is a really, really hard effect to pull off, and they just didn't. And there's nothing we can do about that. They didn't pull it off. There's nothing to really excuse that.
Yeah, and can I say this? If you can't pull off the effect, definitely don't try it. Don't tell a story that requires it, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if they could do... I've seen some fan films where flying effects, like you're like, oh, this is a person flying. Like you can tell, you're like, okay, this is flying, I'm watching flying. If you can't do that effect, don't write that into the script.
Yeah, I agree.
It is. Like, it's part of making fan films, is like, you have to contend with everything. It's an endless series of compromises that you have to work. You have to be passionate about your compromises, though. You can't come to hate them. You have to learn to love whatever your film is turning into because of those compromises that you have to make just from budgetary and other forms of art aren't like this necessarily. This is something that you see in film. It's like you have to make compromises. That's one of those things. Like, why is Superman there and Green Lantern? Like, how does Sinestro have a chance at the end? Also, like,
oh no, I mean Sinestro could just logically with what we've seen them do, Sinestro should be capable to be able to take on Superman should he need to, or Green Lantern separately. Just as far as power-wise, it comes down to the person with the Green Lantern ring, but now Sinestro should be able to take Superman out if he needs to.
yeah.
It's not going to be easy, but he should be capable of it.
Yeah, no, my question is just, like, they all come there, and, like, did Superman do anything in that fight?
Well, no, that I did actually like. I like that Batman's there to just say, I was here to find you, and Superman's, I'm here to make sure you don't leave. I like that. That was a pretty good dynamic. They're there to just, they're basically there to just gang up on and bully Sinestro.
You're right. I was probably laughing too hard. You're right. That they did say that.
I was probably laughing too hard. Ouch.
I laughed. This was really funny. Can I just say, like, it was really funny to, like, okay, like, this is also part of it. Like, I'm sure the people that made this also laugh at it when they watch it.
Yeah, that's something that happens a lot. You'll look back on your old work and you'll go, oh my god, why did I do that?
I mean, like, I'm sure, like, here's the thing about this, because, like, when I'm talking about, like, in this, when I'm making fun of it, I'm not, like, saying, you guys made a shitty movie. I'm just laughing at it because it is hilarious. And, like, this is what happens when people with no money make movies sometimes. They could turn out like this, and it's really funny. And it's not a bad thing, and I'm glad this exists. But it's just really funny, though.
Mm-hmm. It's one of those things where, like, I watched this, and like I say, there are no good Green Lantern fan films. There are a lot of, like, they look a bit better, but they have no ambition because all they do is make the ring light up. And at the end, you're just disappointed by that. There are some others that go a little bit farther and will actually have him, fly around and do some constructs and stuff, but they just don't look very good or the story doesn't make any sense. I think this is, a perfectly fine story. A lot of the story elements here make sense. Some of the dialogue's a little weak here and there. And, of course, it doesn't help when the actors are just not great actors. But overall, I was pretty happy with a lot of this. It's just, it has a lot of stuff that flat out doesn't work. And that's, it's disappointing. It's weird to think... And I only bring this up because of something that I found last night. It's weird to think that I may have been the only person to make something really good with Green Lantern fan stuff attached to it. Because, like... So, 5 years ago, I made a motion comic. I got, friends together and stuff, and it's not a fan film, so I'm not even comparing it to this. But I made a motion comic, got friends together of the Green Lantern Flight story that Jeff Johns did. Oddly enough, Jarwin Cook did the art, since he just died. Mm-hmm. And now we're sad. Anyway, I did a motion comic of it, and the music I used, I had to use Pink Floyd's songs, Great Gig in the Sky, and Learning to Fly. And once again, I'm only bringing this up because of something that had happened last night. But because I used those songs, YouTube wouldn't allow me to post it without, copyrighting my account, yada yada. So I put it on torrent sites, because why not? And I've never really thought about it since. So I'm looking for Green Lantern fan films the other day, or yesterday rather, and someone uploaded my goddamn motion comic to YouTube. And it's been up for like 3 years.
We're reviewing that next week.
On someone else's channel. I'm just like, why can't I post it? They didn't change anything, Rasco. Everything is literally the exact same. They just posted it on their channel.
Well,
That's bizarre to me.
The internet.
Yeah, I guess. So I'll leave a link to that in the description as well if anyone would like to go watch it. That was before I made my movie, so I still didn't quite know how to edit, and I didn't even kind of understand pacing. But still, it's probably the best fan-produced Green Lantern thing I've seen, and I've looked. Did you watch the Red Lantern Oath fan film by chance?
Oh, I saw that. I probably clicked on it, but I don't remember anything about it.
It was the one where, like, the girl was gonna kill her, ex-husband or whatever.
I just saw the video then, I guess, because I remember it was called The Oath, but I didn't click on it, I guess.
Gotcha. Okay, well, yeah, so between my Green Lantern motion comic and my, CGI battery series, I think I'm the best Green Lantern fan producer on YouTube.
I can make the movie.
I guess if anyone has to do it, it has to be me, but I really don't want to because I'm a shitty actor. I don't know any good actors. But yeah, man, how weird is that? I don't know how to feel about that I'm quote-unquote... I don't want to be. I want there to be better Green Lantern fan films. I just don't think there are.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that. Let's go ahead and do a rating. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about with the Green Lantern Endgame?
No, there's not a whole lot left to say about it. It's really funny. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I'm tired of the title Endgame, but to be fair, this came out in 2011, so they didn't know that yet. Yeah. A lot of people are calling shit Endgame. And ever since Scott Snyder, I'm sick of it. So there's that, just a general complaint to throw into the void. So let's go ahead and do a rating. You go first.
I'm gonna give this... I'm gonna have to give this like 1 out of 5. Terrible acting Aquaman.
Okay, I will give this a... Oh, we didn't talk about costume design. I thought the costumes looked alright. Or no, you mentioned it briefly. Yeah. I will give this, I'm gonna give this 2 scores. One as just a general in the quality of fan films, and one as related to other Green Lantern fan films that are anywhere near this ambitious. I will give this a 1 out of 5 pacifier constructs, and as far as other Green Lantern fan films go, I will give it a 3.5 out of 5, because none of them are good, but this is better than most. Yeah, 3.5 out of 5. Jon Stewart punking everybody by dressing up like a baby. Yeah, ouch. I'm sorry, guys. We need to talk about more positive fan films, more that are just, like, damned good.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are we talking about next week?
We're talking about Marvel Knights Spider-Man, a fan film.
Okay, is that one at least, like, 10 minutes long?
It's 5 minutes and 43 seconds, but I've seen it. I think there's enough to talk about there.
Okay. Alright. I'll trust you.
Yeah.
Rasco picks, like, the shortest things ever. Like, impossible to get a half hour out of, but whatever. We'll see how this goes. Alright, everyone. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Philosopher.
And I'm the Squampus.
And we are your geeky gentlemen, and we will be discussing things.